You really use it? You want to get? A little expensive.
So I was like,
it's worth it.
This will handy. Gives that downward shadow, and you're just like, yeah. That's okay. Yeah. Hey, Erica. I have the flash drive.
Oh.
No, it's colder than normal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. I'm Deputy Chief Aaron Hughley. I oversee our Investigations Division and serve as our agency's Public Information Officer. Standing here with me today is Southfield Chief of Police, Elvin Barren, Deputy Chief Jeffrey Jagowski, who oversees our Patrol Division, and Detective Sergeant Jared Womble. Today, Chief Barren will update the public regarding the arrest of a sexual predator who assaulted 2 minor children. The adult male was taken into custody on Wednesday, May 7, 2025, here in the city of Southfield for multiple charges to include first-degree criminal sexual conduct. I ask that you please hold all of your questions until the conclusion of the press briefing and turn off or mute any cell phones or other electronic devices. Also, please wait to be escorted back down to the main lobby. A press packet is available on the back table, which includes a USB drive of all files presented here today. And for record-keeping purposes, we ask that you complete our media sign-in sheet. And without any further delay, Chief Barren.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. And thank you to our media for gathering with us. This will be a very disturbing press conference because today we're going to expose a pedophile to our community. Before I get into the actual contents of my remarks, I do want to remind you that over the last several press conferences, I've made it intentional that I meet with families to give them an opportunity to share their thoughts with me. Also, if they're up to it, to join us at press conferences, because these things could be a healing process for them as well. And also, when I meet with the families, I also get information from them as far as how they would like me to deliver information. So now we're talking about a situation where 2 parents, their children were sexually assaulted. Very disturbing, very troubling. And I met with this family yesterday. When I described this family, a young family, I can still see the pain in the mother's eyes as I stand here right now describing what had occurred. Keeping in mind that the parents had just left the arraignment before joining me in my office for conversation. And when I met with the family, I said, how can I make this press conference easy for you? Because I know it's troubling. Because initially, they really didn't want a press conference to occur. But then they realized that it's important to have this press conference to expose this pedophile. That way, if there's any other victims, they would come forward. So I commend the family for thinking that much during this time of stress. But they asked me, Chief, can you protect my children when you do this press conference? Let me say it again. Can you protect my children? I said, absolutely. Tell me how. It's done. The first request they gave me was, Chief, can you not mention the graphic details of how my children were assaulted? Done. The next, they asked me, can you not mention the ages of our children? So for purposes of this press conference, I'm going to describe these children as boy and girl under the age of 10. They also asked me, can I ensure that their identities are not disclosed to the public? And also the relationship our suspect has with the children. So for purposes of this press conference, he's going to be described as a family member. And so I'm going to keep those commitments. I ask that we all respect this process. I did explain to the family that through a court process, because I want to also be realistic about how things happen. In court processes, a lot of information does come out that may still be disturbing. But what I have my hands on it, while it's still early in this trauma for this family, I will respect their wishes. So this incident initiated on Monday, May 5th at approximately 9 a.m. when Southfield Police desk personnel took a report of an alleged criminal sexual conduct that occurred in a residence in the city of Southfield. The reporting parties are the parents of 2 minor children that were involved in this assault. It was a boy, a girl, again, under the age of 10 years old. They advised the Southfield officers that the female daughter had been sexually assaulted by the suspect. Lawrence Miles, 69 years old, resident of the city of Southfield, who is a family member to the victims. The alleged sexual assault occurred on May 3rd between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. while the children were in his care and custody. However, on May 4th, the young boy, advised his mother that the suspect had touched his sister inappropriately on the day prior. The suspect told the children not to tell the parents about what had occurred, and if the children told, they would not be able to come over again. So we all know, just from our experience, that oftentimes these predators, what they do to gain the confidence of the children, they do their manipulation through games. And those games often involve touching, playing, humor, all in a manner to gain control and confidence of the children while masking their sexual deviance. And then oftentimes it concludes with these pedophiles outlining a consequence if they expose the behavior to the parents. And again, in this case, that you wouldn't be able to come over and see me again. Obviously, taking advantage of the fact that the children loved him and liked to spend time with him. However, the young boy, who I'm going to give tremendous accommodations to, had the courage to protect his sister and himself by telling the parents what transpired. On Wednesday, May 7th, we were able to gather information and also activate a tactical crime suppression unit, who I spoke about. This unit goes out and apprehends wanted fugitives. And our tactical crime suppression unit did go to his home and was able to arrest him at his residence without incident. As a result of the investigation and the evidence that was presented, the officers of the Oakland County prosecutor issued the following charges for Lawrence Miles. Count 1, felony sexual conduct, first degree, and there'll be 3 counts of that. Count 2, felony criminal sexual conduct, second degree, and there will be 2 counts for that charge. He was denied bond. Preliminary examination is scheduled for Thursday, May 22nd at 8:30 a.m. What's interesting is that this pedophile does not have a criminal history. But as I said before in previous press conferences, when it comes to these individuals who we arrest, this is the first time he's been caught or the first time it was brought to law enforcement's attention. Also, through the process of this investigation, we do believe that there will be another family member who is expected to come forth and discuss her details of possible sexual assault in the past. Also, what we learned is that, and you see this individual is 69 years old, and which means he's been around for a while, which is another reason why it's important to call this press conference, because what we learned is that he was an educator in the states of Kansas, Illinois, and Georgia. And so it's important that this information is shared with those states as well, in the event that he came in contact with children and had some type of similar experience of touching those children inappropriately in those states. And so again, very disturbing information, taking advantage of a family member, 2 young minor children, but we're going to hold him accountable. Between this police department, our Oakland County Prosecutor's Office, he will be held accountable. So I'm going to transition to show you, as I always do, the video of us taking him into custody. This is my way of continuing to expose him. But you see all angles of this man to make sure that if you've been assaulted by him, that you come forward. So let's lower these lights and play the video of him being arrested by Southfield Tactical Crime Suppression Unit.
Southfield Police. Miles?
Yeah.
All right, come here. Come here. Michael Shepherd? Take some milk. Friendly?
Another angle.
Storage room next to the bedroom. Sir, you want to take a seat? Cross too tight? A little bit. Which one? But what if you put your hands like this? Does that feel better? Or no? You still need them loosely. Is that fine? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's how we balance her. Yeah, gotcha. Just face me, you can do that too.
All right, lights, please. And at this time, I will open up the floor for questions from the media.
How long do you think this may have been going on with these two victims you're talking about right now?
Yes, unknown exactly how long. When you look at the charges from what we were able to gather, because these children were presented to the forensic interviewers from Care House to interview the children. And as a result of that interview, we were able to gather enough information to present these charges for the crimes that the children could remember. And so, but it's unknown how long it's been going on, but I believe this is not the first time that he's done this type of thing to children.
How are the children doing?
I'll describe the children as being very courageous, strong children. You know, you talk about under the age of 10, minors. Don't be fooled by minors and their ability to comprehend. Oftentimes, and as this pedophile now found out, is that these children know what's right and what's wrong. It's important for parents to really look at these type of incidents and have conversations with their children. What it means to be touched inappropriately, and what to do if you find themselves in that situation. And so, obviously, the parents had conversations at some point, even if it took a little bit of time for the children to gain that confidence. Because, like I said, the pedophiles they work these different emotions with children, gain that confidence. You talking about a relative, it's difficult sometimes to separate the lines. But I'm going to commend the young boy because he knew something was wrong, and he didn't like how his sister was being handled, and made sure that the information moved forward to the parents. And then with the parents, and I'm going to keep reiterating this, they were not really wanting a press conference to take place. This is difficult. You're talking about hurt, you're talking about embarrassment. Sometimes we as parents blame ourselves for what happens, but commending them too for saying, hey, Chief, let's get out in front of it. Let's let the world know who he is in the event there's any other victims. So those parents are to be commended as well for their unselfish acts and thinking about the broader community during their difficult time of stress. Because like I said, I can still see the pain in her eyes as I stand here in front of you all.
Chief, what is the call to other victims? You mentioned that he was an educator in Kansas, Illinois, Georgia, and then just even here, whatever he did here locally. What's the call? What would you say to those who are watching? Do they recognize him or have some sort of recollection?
Yes, sometimes when you look at children who have been pedophile, as time moves on, there are times where there's a process where they'll block it out. And so when you look at the fact that he's 69, what I've learned is that him being an educator happened in a younger part of his existence. And these victims at some of these schools may have been younger at the time of contact. And so, and that's why we show these images. It may bring back memories. Or you may have individuals who are just so embarrassed, who may even blame themselves and didn't have confidence at that time to come forward. But now that momentum has taken, He's been arrested. He's confined. Sometimes victims of crimes, through that process, now have the courage to come up and step forward and say, I was also victimized. And we want you to know that we believe you, and you report it to the agency of occurrence. And I'm glad you brought out 3 different states, Kansas, Illinois, and Georgia. And that way, they can go to those municipalities and begin to document what may have happened at some time with contact from this individual. Any other questions?
You said another family member, and I'm sorry if I missed it. How old is that family member?
I didn't get the age of that family member. I was just told that through this process, there was another family member who was expected to come forward. Any other questions? All right. Well, again, I thank you all. I know a little bit different of a press conference, but always important to, again, respect the victims, particularly guarding minor children, but in the same time, getting this information out so we can further our investigation and then have an opportunity to get other victims' story as well. But thank you all. And Erica, I got you. I didn't get your text message till right before I came in. So
I didn't realize you had another event.
yeah. But thank you.
How we kind of do, like,
Right.
is it okay if we do like a little sidebar?
Well, as long as with the same parameters.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
right.
Oh, sorry, mine died,
Okay.
so we didn't catch the end of it.
Thank you, brother. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, it will be